Good evening, friends, fiends, and night owl supremes. Welcome to A Bit Late, where we are continuing on the spooky side of things with the soldier and the vampire tonight. So yeah, get your spooky on here. You know, as usual, get comfy and cozy, gather your blankets and pillow forts, summon the animal familiars, make your coffee and tea, light your candles and fairy lights for tonight's story. But yeah, before you do all that, just wanted to check in. Hope you're doing okay. Things are okay here, doing all right. Kind of was rainy all day today, so I didn't know if I would have a chance to record and chat tonight, but it seemed to have subsided, so I think we're in the clear. We're lucky, although it is very cozy to read in the rain, but it's not always the best thing to record in because you can't take rain out easily. But yeah, maybe that's TMI about the process behind the video. But yeah, I'm sitting here reading a story with you now, so that's what's going on in this moment. And it's a good moment. So, without further ado, get comfy and cozy for tonight's vampiric tale, The Soldier and the Vampire. A certain soldier was allowed to go home on furlough. Well, he walked, and after a time he began to draw near to his native village. Not far off from that village lived a miller in his mill. Okay, that's expected. In old times, the soldier had been very intimate with him. Oh, I didn't realize it was going to be so steamy right away. Why shouldn't he go and see his friend? I put emphasis on friend, maybe there's not, but he went. The miller received him cordially, not warmly, and at once brought out liquor, and the two began drinking and chattering about their ways and doings. Oh, good, yay. All this took place towards nightfall, and the soldier stopped so long at the miller's that it grew quite dark, which is good for intimate friends, but not the best if there are vampires about, which there are because that's the title of the story. When he proposed to start for his village, his host exclaimed, "Spend the night here, trooper. It's very late now, and perhaps you might run into mischief." "Oh, nice. I really can't stay." "How so?" "The heavens are punishing us," replied his friend. "A terrible warlock has died among us, and by night he rises from his grave, wanders through the village, and does such things as bring fear upon the very boldest. How could even you help being afraid of him?" "Oh, so that's how vampires are made, or corpses that walk around after dark. They are warlocks that have died that keep roaming." Oh, that one story, The Two Corpses, makes so much more sense now. You can watch it here. Anyway, the friend's like, "Even you would be afraid, right? Seriously, no one's immune, friend." But the soldier says, "Not a bit of it. A soldier is a man who belongs to the crown, and crown property cannot be drowned in water nor burnt in fire." That was a quote. "I'll be off. I'm tremendously anxious to see my people as soon as possible." Bummer, man, he didn't stay the night. So off he set. His road lay in front of a graveyard, because of course it did. On one of the graves he saw a great fire blazing. What's that?" thinks he. "Let's have a look," think we. When he drew near, he saw that the warlock was sitting by the fire, sewing boots. Cool. But he was just warned about some dead warlocks, so he's approaching him like, "Hail, brother," calls out the soldier. The warlock looks up and says, "What have you come here for?" "Why, I wanted to see what you're doing." The warlock threw his work aside and invited the soldier to a wedding. Right. So logical. "I'm just sewing these boots. What are you doing here?" "Oh, psh, those boots, throw them away. Come to a wedding with me, man." Cool. I love it. "Come along, brother," says he. "Let's enjoy ourselves. There's a wedding going on in the village." "Come along," says the soldier. They came to where the wedding was, and they were given drink and treated with the utmost hospitality. The warlock drank and drank, revelled, and then grew angry. He's an angry drinker, I guess. He chased all the guests and relatives out of the house and threw the wedded pair into a slumber. What? took out 2 phials and an owl, pierced the hands of the bride and bridegroom with the owl, and began drawing off their blood. Having done this, he said to the soldier, "Now let's be off." Whoa. That happened fast. So they're at a wedding, having a great time, and then he gets really thirsty and has to drain the bride and the groom. Cool, I hope they're okay. That they were just in a slumber and they're not missing much of the blood. So, now let's be off, says the warlock. Well, they went off. On the way, the soldier said, "Tell me, why did you draw off their blood in those phials?" "Why, in order that that bride and bridegroom might die." "What? No. Tomorrow morning, no one will be able to wake them. I alone know how to bring them back to life." How's that managed? Not horror or shock, I guess he is the crowned soldier, so he's not fazed by anything. Anyway, the bride and bridegroom must have cuts made in their heels, and some of their own blood must be then poured back into those wounds. I've got the bridegroom's blood stowed away in my right-hand pocket and the bride's in my left. I love villains and their plots and how they just tell you how to undo them in monologues. They gotta tell someone. They've been cooking this up for so long. The soldier listened to this without letting a single word escape him. Then the warlock began boasting again. "Whatever I wish," says he, "that I can do." "Careful, pride cometh before the fall, warlock, sir." "I suppose it is quite impossible to get the better of you," says the soldier. "Why impossible? If anyone were to make a pyre of aspen boughs, 100 loads of them, and were to burn me on that pyre, then he'd be able to get the better of me. Ha 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 ha, I just told you how to foil me." In a braggy way. "Only he'd have to look out sharp in burning me, for snakes and worms and different kinds of reptiles would creep out of my inside. How is his body made? And crows and magpies and jackdaws would come flying up. All these must be caught and flung on the pyre. If so much as a single maggot were to escape, then there'd be no help for it. In that maggot, I should slip away." I'm getting Oogie Boogie vibes here when my bugs, but one doesn't escape. One doesn't escape, it gets smushed by Santa's boot. Anyway, mixing lores. Also, I feel like I need to correct myself before the story's done. The warlock didn't drink the blood of the bride and groom, he stored it in the phials, that's all. Okay, so he's not a vampire, even though the story says he is. At this moment. Anyway, the warlock has told the soldier everything he needs to do to end him. The soldier listened to all this and did not forget it. He and the warlock talked, and at last they arrived at the grave. "Well, brother," said the warlock, "now I'll tear you to pieces, otherwise you'd be telling all this." And he must have lived to tell the tale, though, because we know all of this. "What are you talking about? Don't deceive yourself. I serve the emperor." The warlock gnashed his teeth, howled aloud, and sprang at the soldier, who drew his sword and began laying about him with sweeping blows. They struggled and struggled. The soldier's was all but at the end of his strength. "Ah," thinks he, "I am a lost man, and all for nothing." Suddenly, the cocks began to crow. The warlock fell, lifeless, to the ground. The soldier took the phials of blood out of the warlock's pocket and went on to the house of his own people. When he got there and had exchanged greetings with his relatives, they said, "Did you see any disturbance, soldier?" "No, I saw none." "What, that's a frickin' lie, soldier. You were part of the biggest one." Anyway, lying soldier to his family, but not to the warlock? There now, why, we've a terrible piece of work going on in this village. A warlock has taken to haunting it. After talking a while, they lay down to sleep. Next morning, the soldier awoke and began asking, "I'm told you've got a wedding going on somewhere here?" "Boy, it's late. I thought they were supposed to, die the next day without doing the blood in their heels thing." I'm confused. Time seems relative in this story. Or the translation's a little inconsistent with it, which is fine too. Fits in with fairytale logic. "Anyway, there was a wedding in the house of a rich man," replied his relatives. but the bride and bridegroom have died this very night. From what? Nobody knows. But the soldier does, and he's too late. Where does this man live? They showed him the house. Thither he went without speaking a word. When he got there, he found the whole family in tears. "What are you mourning about?" says he. "Oh, come on, man, you know." "Such and such is the state of things, soldier," they say. "I can bring your young people to life again. What will you give me if I do?" "You terrible, terrible man. Shame on you. Take what you like, even if it were half of all we've got," they said. Well, the greedy soldier, I added that part, did as the warlock had instructed him and brought the young people back to life. Yay! Instead of weeping, there began to be happiness and rejoicing. The soldier was hospitably treated and well rewarded. He profited off of the misfortune, big time. Then, left about face, off he marched to the elder and told him to call the peasants together and to get ready 100 loads of aspen wood. Oh, I wonder what he's thinking of doing. Well, they took the wood into the graveyard, dragged the warlock out of his grave, placed him on the pyre, and set it alight. The people all standing round in a circle with brooms, shovels, and fire irons. Good looking out, people. The pyre became wrapped in flames. The warlock began to burn. His corpse burst, and out of it crept snakes, worms, and all sorts of reptiles. And up came flying crows, magpies, and jackdaws. The peasants knocked them down and flung them into the fire, not allowing so much as a single maggot to creep away. And so the warlock was thoroughly consumed, and the soldier collected his ashes and strewed them to the winds. From that time forth, there was peace in the village. The soldier received the thanks of the whole community. He stayed at home some time, enjoying himself thoroughly. Good, he deserved it. Kind of. Mixed feelings on this. Then he went back to the Tsar's service with money in his pocket. When he had served his time, he retired from the army and began to live at his ease. So on his break from the military, he had to go take care of a warlock. No big deal. Not much of a vacation though, really. But the end. Sort of happily ever after. It's a very interesting story. It was like buddy-buddy with the warlock / what this author is considering a vampire. There was, owling away blood, so I guess taking away life source is sort of vampiric. Very vampiric. But I don't know what he was going to use it for. We'll never find out because the 100 loads of aspen wood were used, and all the bugs and birds were caught and also burned, so all's well that ends with a pyre, I guess. But hey, I hope you're doing okay, you're doing better, or you're doing great. That would be awesome. But I am planning something big here, so I'm gonna go get that started. Secrets, hush hush. So now, off to sleep and dream what you will, or stay a while and enjoy another tale. Whichever you choose, I'll speak to you again, and until then, stay spooky, my friends. Good night.